Question time tonight comes from Liverpool, and on the panel, Ed Miliband, the Cabinet Office Minister, Ian Duncan Smith, former leader of the Conservative Party, Jenny Tong for the Liberal Democrats, Jan Ravens from Dead Ringers, and the controversial journalist Bruce Anderson. Join us for Question Time. It's on BBC One at 10:35 after the news.
Here is the news now on BBC One with Hugh Edwards and Louisa Preston.
In his own words, the gunman who killed 32 people on a university campus.
This is it. This is where it all ends. Ended there. What a life it was. So much.
The images recorded by Cho Seung-hui were posted to a television network midway through his shooting spree. Experts say it helps to explain his state of mind. But police say they're very unhappy that the material has been made public. Also tonight, 2 British soldiers were killed in Iraq today and 3 others injured on patrol in Maysan province. After the heavy defeat against South Africa, England's cricket coach has resigned.
Who do you blame? Do you blame the players for not performing, or do you blame the strategy from the coach? And I suppose it's a mixture of both.
And going fast, the best mortgage deals disappear as higher interest rates loom.
In BBC London News, crime in the capital goes down, but the battle to gain public confidence continues, and fears for Surrey's endangered wildlife after a massive fire at a nature reserve.
Good evening. There's deepening controversy in America after video footage of Cho Seung-hui, the Virginia gunman, was shown on television. The video, along with these photographs of him posing with guns, were posted to a US television network midway through his shooting spree. Experts say the video helps to understand his state of mind, but there's growing criticism that the material has been made public. Let's join Matt Fry, our correspondent in Virginia.
Hugh, it's been called a multimedia manifesto. 23 video clips, 29 stills, 1,800 rambling words, inspired by violent films and websites, sent to a major American television network, and of course posted on the web. It's a very 21st century killer who committed acts of arcane brutality. It is the riddle behind this massacre. What turned an awkward smile into a grimace of death? The twisted journey from one to the other is the subject of Cho's multimedia manifesto.
I didn't have to do this. I could have left. I could have fled. But now, I will no longer run. You thought it was one pathetic boy's life you were extinguishing. Thanks to you, I died, like Jesus Christ, to inspire generations of the weak and the defenseless people. You have never felt a single ounce of pain your whole life, yet you want to inject as much misery in our lives as you can, just because you can. You had everything you wanted. Your Mercedes wasn't enough, you brats. Your golden necklaces weren't enough, you snobs. Your trust fund wasn't enough. Your vodka and cognac weren't enough. All your debaucheries weren't enough. Those weren't enough to fulfill your hedonistic needs. You had everything. This is it. This is where it all ends. Ended there. What a life it was. Some life.
His actions couldn't have been less religious, but Cho's video is littered with references to religion. He rails against Christianity, but also compares himself to Christ.
Do you know what it feels like to be humiliated and be impaled upon on a cross and left to bleed to death for your amusement?
Yes, he clearly identifies with Jesus Christ as somebody who is persecuted.
The comparisons to Jesus will strike many as offensive, but this shouldn't surprise anyone, according to Glenn Wilson, a psychiatrist who helped us to analyze the tape.
He mentions Christ on a few occasions, which is one of the more common identifications in paranoid patients. But whether you call it personality disorder or paranoid psychosis, he's obviously an extremely disturbed individual. I would expect that there is some kind of biochemical or even anatomical basis to this.
These poses are also part of the killer's chilling vocabulary, icons of brutality, aped from a film library of violence. This pose bears a remarkable resemblance to Old Boy, a South Korean film which is part of the Vengeance trilogy. In life, Cho was so shy that he barely braved a walk-on part, but as he prepared meticulously for his death and the death of so many others, he cast himself as the leading man.
It's a case of the small man wanting to be big, the Rambo complex, if you like, somebody wanting to be noticed, wanting to be a superhero, when in fact he knew that he was none of these things. Andy Warhol talked about 15 minutes of fame. Well, he has certainly achieved his.
And then there was Cho's obsession with blaming you. The student who barely spoke to others spewed forth a torrent of rage and resentment on video.
You had 100 billion chances in the ways to have avoided today, but you decided to spill my blood. You forced me into a corner and gave me only one option.
The mood is beginning to change here on campus. Inevitably, perhaps, our intrusion into their grief is becoming resented. The media focus in recent days has been on the killer, the motives behind his momentous crime, and his legacy on video. Time to refocus once again on the people who matter most, the victims and the ones they leave behind. Hugh, the video shows that the massacre had been meticulously planned, and the package that he sent to the network also shows that he had clearly been planning this crime for several months. Let's now listen to Jeremy Cook.
Almost by the hour, we're getting more details of the events in Chosun. August last year,